Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I am just incredibly humbled and honored every time I have the opportunity to get up here and to talk with you. Several years ago, about 7, our spiritual community was in a little bit of change. Reverend Carol Mahaffey, our founding minister, had just retired. Tracy, Barbara Mudica, Marianne Crawford and I were on the board, and we were just trying to figure things out. At that point, Marianne, who was our president and our leader, asked me if I would do a Sunday talk. And I couldn't say no to Marianne. I mean, who could, right? I was so nervous that day standing up here that I was sure you could see my knees shaking the whole talk. Marianne made her transition in January, and I wanted to just dedicate this talk to her. I wanted to say thank you, Marianne, for really pushing me and stretching me into my uncomfortable zone, because I have learned that that's where the growth takes place. I'm still stretching, I'm still growing, and this talk, as with almost every talk I give, is what I need to hear to be the best parts of me. I share it with you today in case something that I say will resonate with you as well. So the basis of my talk is spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence has been described as the wisdom of the soul. It provides us with a compass that allows us to navigate with greater awareness, with the knowledge of our purpose in life, and to create a deeper connection with spirit. Cindy Wigglesworth, who wrote the book SQ21, 21 Skills of Spiritual Intelligence, shared a really interesting story that as she was developing her own definition of spiritual intelligence, she originally wanted to use the word love, because at its essence, spiritual intelligence embodies love and kindness. However, the word love is used in a lot of different ways. I love Bob. I love my family. Some of you met the middle Lala sister who's here today. I love my spiritual community. I love my friends. I love playing tennis. I love my job. I love potatoes. I don't care if they're mashed, baked, twice baked, hash browns. So you can see that love does not always mean the same thing. As she was searching for just the right definition for spiritual intelligence, Cindy says she ran across this Eastern parable, and it goes like this. Love is a bird with 2 wings. One wing is wisdom, and the other is compassion. If either is broken, the bird cannot fly. That was her aha moment. She said this is what she really wanted, and here's her definition of spiritual intelligence. It is the ability to live from a place of wisdom and compassion while maintaining inner and outer peace, no matter the apparent chaos of the situation. She really had me at wisdom and compassion, because who doesn't want to be wiser and more compassionate? Who doesn't want to experience that inner peace in our lives? I know that I certainly strive to maintain inner peace on a daily basis, and sometimes it's more difficult than others. Turning on the news or listening to personal stories of injustice or loss from friends and family, those stories can be heartbreaking. So every day in my reading, my reflection, my meditation, I remind myself to be more mindful of those things I call my peace thieves, those things that appear to try to take away my sense of comfort and peace and joy. And when they appear, I bless them, and I invite them to leave my consciousness. And I replace those by raising my awareness of all of the beautiful, lovely, joyful things in my life, and there are so many. Spiritual intelligence also helps us to create order out of chaos. The principles remind us that we are one with God, and we are one with each other. They give us that opportunity to reflect on our values, our own personal values, our own personal vision, and our purpose in life. And in reality, none of these spiritual intelligence principles are new or cutting edge. They're things that we've always known. They're ideas that we've considered before. But for me, they serve as just a reminder and a reminder just keep on my journey, to keep on my path, and to keep moving forward. So what I wanted to do this morning is to just take a little closer look at each part of Cindy's definition. First is the wing of wisdom. It has been said that wisdom is the blend of knowledge between the heart and the head. And part of that knowledge, and a really key theme to spiritual intelligence, is self-awareness. In his book, Don Quixote, Miguel de Cervantes says, "Make it your business to know yourself. This is the most difficult lesson in the world." And that's where that self-awareness comes from, but it can also be a very scary thing. If you think about it, self-awareness requires us to reflect on what we think and what we believe and why we have those certain perspectives. And for the most part, our perceptions and the things that we think and what we believe are based on our own experiences, but they're also based on things that maybe people told us from the time we were very young until now. Laura, would you put that picture up, please? So this is a slide that I use when I teach my peace model of conflict transformation. And in both pictures, there are two pictures. And some people can see the old woman and the young woman. Some people can see only one. Some people can see the horse and the frog. And some people can see only one of those. And the point is, it doesn't matter if you can't see them both, if somebody sees something different from what you see. We don't all see the world the same way. We all are looking at the world through a different lens. So you can take it down if you want to, unless people still want to look at it. Have you figured out, have you seen both the young and the old and the horse and the frog? I'll show you later if you want. So years ago, I read this quote by Buddha. It was in the chapter on knowing in Wayne Dyer's book, Wisdom Through the Ages, and it goes like this. "Do not believe what you have heard. Do not believe in tradition because it is handed down many generations. Do not believe anything that has been spoken of many times. Do not believe the written statement just because it comes from an old sage. Do not believe in conjecture. Do not believe in authority or teachers or elders. But after careful observation and analysis, when it agrees with reason, and when it will benefit one and all, then accept it and live by it." And that requires us to really examine what we think, why we think it, and are those thoughts and beliefs still serving us? It's sometimes challenging to let go of those old beliefs. I mean, if you think about it, they are part of who we are, letting go of something that has been a piece of ourselves for a very long time. Whether it's childhood trauma, the prejudices and the biases that we learned somewhere along the way, the assumptions about others, them, they've all been part of our being for a really long time. But when we decide that these old beliefs are preventing us from evolving spiritually and from showing up in the world the way that we were meant to, we can choose to let them go. And that circles right back around to conscious self-awareness. Another important aspect of self-awareness is that it provides me with all the opportunities to question my life's purpose. Why am I here? What are my values? What is the vision I have for my life? And when I'm faced with choices, oftentimes my guiding questions are, does this help me along the path of my spiritual journey? Does this allow me to do what is mine to do in this world? Does this inspire me? Does this bring me a sense of peace and joy? So think about it. What inspires you? What brings you that sense of peace and joy? For me, showing up in this life and feeling as though I can make a difference is really what inspires me. Many of you may know that a lifetime ago, I bought a construction company where I started working when I was 17 years old. Now, my lifelong dream was not to be a construction company owner. It was not. I didn't say as a little girl, when I grow up, I want to own a construction company. That was not who I was. But life unfolded and opportunities presented themselves, and I bought the company after working there for 23 years. That very same year, I was asked to teach a class on small business management at Sullivan University. The big project in that course was to write a business plan, and I had experience doing that, so I rather flippantly agreed to teach that course. And what an epiphany. I remember so clearly walking out of that classroom that night thinking, I know what I want to do when I grow up. So 3 years later, I sold the company and I went to work for Sullivan full-time. Now, for 27 years, I thought that the universe brought me the opportunity to buy this company so that I could sell it and be financially okay to take a job that paid a lot less than I was used to, but one that made my soul sing. That's what I thought. As I was writing this talk, I had another little epiphany. It dawned on me that if I didn't own this construction company, if I didn't manage this company, if I hadn't written a business plan, they wouldn't have asked me to teach this class at Sullivan. So I guess I'm a bit of a slow learner, but that really just dawned on me. But the trajectory of my life was really changed by buying that company, and not in the way that I thought. I'm truly grateful, inspired, and just joyful that I have the opportunity to help students realize and accomplish their goals in life. Our lives are not random. Each of us has a purpose here on this earth. And I know that my life has been a classroom for my soul. I've learned, I've failed, I've rebounded, I've hurt people, I've been hurt, I've faced adversity, and I have experienced the greatest love. I do admit that sometimes my life gets so busy that my purpose and my inspiration get a bit blurred. There's the story of this young executive who purchased this really fancy, nice car, and he decided to take it for a really fast spin through a neighborhood. He was kind of keeping an eye out just in case kids would be darting in and out of between the parked cars. So he slowed down when he thought he saw something, but nothing appeared until suddenly a brick hit the side of his car. He slammed on his brakes, he backed up to the spot where the brick had been thrown. In furious, he got out of the car. He grabbed the nearest kid and he pushed him against the car. He said, "What are you doing? That's a brand new car. The damage caused by that brick is going to cost me a lot of money. Why did you do that?" And the boy, apologetic and in tears, said, "Mister, I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do." He said, "I threw the brick because nobody else would stop." He pointed around the parked car and he said, "That's my brother. He fell out of his wheelchair and I can't lift him up." The man was stunned. He walked over, he lifted the injured boy back into his wheelchair. He used his handkerchief to clean the scrapes, and a quick look told him that the boy was going to be okay. His brother said, "Thank you, mister. God bless you. Thank you so much." The man was too choked up to respond. He watched the brothers make their way back home, and he slowly walked to his car. The damage was noticeable, but he didn't repair it right away. He left the dent as a reminder to himself not to speed through life so fast that someone throws a brick to get your attention. I know I've had a few cosmic bricks thrown my way when I was too busy to stop and too busy to connect to my higher self. So my lesson is, try to remember to slow down and try to remember to listen to that still small voice of God. And when I do this, when I live in the present moment, when I remember to do what is mine to do, I can truly embrace a life of purpose and inner peace. And I can continue this journey of becoming who I was meant to be. And possibly, just possibly, I can make a positive difference in this world. It has been said that God whispers to us in our souls and speaks to our hearts. But when we don't stop and listen, sometimes we get hit by that cosmic brick. So the choice is ours. Listen or look out for the brick. So the wing of compassion is the second part of Cindy's definition. Compassion is recognizing that all humanity is connected, despite our perceptions, despite our experiences, or despite what we think or feel. When I feel out of alignment with my soul's purpose, or when I start to take on or feel the angst of what's going on in the outer world, I try to become more aware and take a really good look at my words and my actions and my thoughts. Am I judging others? Sometimes I catch myself doing that. What am I thinking? Sometimes not the best thoughts. What am I saying? We sing our words, our thoughts, our actions, our prayers. Is that the prayer I want to be praying? Is that what I want to show up in my life? And when I am aware and I can consider that, then I'm able to consciously shift my thoughts and shift my words and shift my actions. And sometimes just being compassionate can make a huge difference in other people's lives. Several years ago, I had one of my PhD students tell me that he had an experience with me and he wanted to tell me about it, and I wasn't sure what he was going to say. But he said he was taking one of my online construction management courses, and a simple act of compassion kept him from not only drowning in grief, but also he was working on his doctorate rather than being a college dropout. You see, he hadn't participated in my class for a week or so, so I just reached out to him because that was unusual for him. And I wanted to know if he was okay. He called me back and he told me he wasn't okay. He said, I'm spiraling in grief. We just buried my son. He said, I can't concentrate on schoolwork. Well, of course. I offered my sympathy, but I had no idea. I could not imagine his pain. I told him at that time I would do whatever he needed me to do. If he wanted to withdraw from the class, I would help him withdraw. If he wanted to continue, I would help him catch up. So he called me a couple of days later and he said, I want to catch up in the class, which he did, and he passed. About 8 years had passed since that experience. Here's the interesting part of that story. I absolutely don't remember doing that, but he did. And that's what's important. Sometimes we touch lives simply by being compassionate, and we don't even know it. And the final piece of Cindy's definition is that peace. That inner peace is such a cornerstone of spiritual intelligence. It serves as both a compass and a destination for us. It's how we want to show up, it's how we get there, and it's where we want to be. Inner peace is that serene center from which we connect with our souls. We experience the greatest joy there, and that's where we cultivate that compassion. Inner peace allows us to transcend the noise of the everyday, and it helps us to be open to the sacred in every moment. Inner peace is a state of being, and when we experience it, it gives a gift that radiates out into the world, touching other lives. So it helps us, but it helps other people as well. Have you ever been in the presence of someone who just brings peace into the room? You feel calmer being in their presence, and that is the gift of inner peace. We have an opportunity to make our lives and our world more harmonious and more compassionate, and we get to become the best parts of who we were meant to be. I debated on whether to share this story with you, and I talked to Bob about it, and I decided to do it. So I'm going to share a little story that's a bit silly, but also one that in my whole entire life, the only person I've ever told is Bob. When I was 16 years old, my boyfriend broke up with me. My 16-year-old heart was shattered into a million pieces. Not only did he break up with me, he started dating one of my friends. Thinking back, I didn't know what I would miss most, that baby blue leisure suit or his love of Charlie Rich songs. It was the 70s. But as I sat in my room, I was completely devastated, thinking no other boy is ever going to want to date me in my entire life. And all of a sudden, all of a sudden, I felt this perfect peace and this perfect calm come over me. I hadn't been praying. I didn't know anything about meditation, but I had this complete sense of peace, and I knew with my whole being at that moment that everything was going to be okay. That happened to me over 50 years ago, and that's still a defining moment in my life. And I've been fortunate enough to really experience some of that peace that passes all understanding. I've been fortunate enough to experience that many times. And I have learned from this beautiful, peaceful feeling that when I'm able to access that, I am better able to find the calm in the chaos. I'm better able to navigate the complexities of life with ease and grace, as Reverend Val says. And that state of tranquility allows me to respond to challenges from a space of thoughtful reflection and compassion, rather than from a place of fear and judgment. So as we continue our journey to all of us become the best parts of who we are guided by wisdom and compassion, and we're guided by that pursuit of inner peace. We are reminded that the path to awakening is not about becoming someone new, but it's about remembering who we truly are. Each of us carries that spark of divinity, a quiet strength, a boundless capacity to love, and the capacity to forgive and to grow. We are not here by accident. Our lives, with all their twists and turns, their joys and their heartaches, are sacred classrooms for our souls. And in those moments, we can pause, reflect, and listen to the still small voice. We find clarity. We find our purpose. We find peace. And I invite each of you to stretch into your uncomfortable zone, whatever that looks like, knowing that the growth is there. Be the wisdom in the chaos. Be the compassion in the crowd. And be the peace in the storm. Never underestimate the power of a kind word, a gentle gesture, or a quiet presence, because sometimes those are the very moments that change lives. So today, I invite you to awaken to the best parts of who you are, to live with intention, to love with courage, and to walk gently, knowing that your light makes a difference. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of my journey. Thank you.